of NutraSweet.
Be treated this way.
All right.
Thank you. Give it up for Karen Mall over here.
Yes.
She said she wanted to do it, and I said, hell yeah.
Yeah, all right, right there. Inhale.
I admit it. I'd do it. Drive for hours on end. You start getting tired. You want to sing in the car. When I want to sing in the car to stay awake, I do something that I do not recommend you do at home. I will listen to classic rock. Because it doesn't matter how young, how old, how middle-aged you are. You will go the rest of your life listening to the music that you listened to in the 9th grade. And I have seen some of you in action. This too is true. You will also go the rest of your life dancing exactly the way you danced in the 9th grade.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
And I was thinking about this as I was driving across the Pennsylvania Turnpike one summer, when I came across a sea of fireflies, and they began to blink in unison with the orange construction habit.
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
And usually when I'm on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, it would be because I'm going to visit my friend Ann Feeney's house. And down the street from Ann's house is my favorite little Irish bar, where I will go to sit and write and scribble silently on napkins and drink Jamesons until I have hallucinations that I am Dylan Thomas. But on this particular occasion, I made a mistake, because it turned out to be St. Patrick's Day weekend. And my sweet little retreat had hired, of all things, a karaoke DJ, and a sign on the door reads, "Ladies drink for free."
All right.
Please swallow your pride if I have things that you want to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show.
Now the funny thing about fireflies is, it's only the male that flickers. They do this in hopes of attracting a female. But if no female can be found, the males will join forces and begin to blink in unison in the hopes that their combined brilliance will reach the heart, or at least the thorax, of their beloved.
You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
At the bar in Pittsburgh, the barflies are garnished in these blinking green shamrocks and unbearable paper hats. Yet somehow I cannot break from my own tradition, because I came here to write, and this is what's happening. So reluctantly, I accept my own blinking green shamrock, and I even order a green beer and find the only open table to sit and write, as familiar acoustic guitar chords leak from the karaoke sound system and the DJ rummages for a potential participant.
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
And I wonder, what do fireflies think as they enliven their luminous bodies captive in a giant mayonnaise jar? Do they dream of pulling themselves up by their tiny little bootstraps as they slide down the glass? At the bar, I get into an argument with a libertarian who tells me that the poor deserve what they get. They should pull themselves up by their tiny little bootstraps as one lone soul steps up to the karaoke microphone.
You just call on my brother when you need a hand.
A single
We all
firefly
need
escapes the
somebody
windshield of my
to
car and
lean
begins to
on.
burn in
I
a
just
rhythm
might
all his
have
own.
a problem that you'll understand.
Other lightning
We
bugs
all
announce their
need
presence.
somebody
Then
to
two of them blink together,
lean
just
on,
one,
lean
as
on
someone
me.
next to me mutters
When
beneath his
you're
breath,
not strong,
lean on
I'll
me.
be your
And
friend.
strangers saunter
I'll
in,
help
join
you
the chorus.
carry on.
Once
for
hollow
it
eyes now
won't be
gleam
long
like
till
fireflies.
I'm gonna
Strangers
need
clink glasses
somebody
and swear
to
undying
lean
friendship,
on.
bound by lyrics inscribed upon our psyches, by the elevators, by the needles of elevators and grocery store ambiance. At the bar, the libertarian fumbles for change, but I pick up his tab, ordering another green beer, singing, lean on me. And it occurs to me that the reason some people want us poor folks to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps is just to get us to bend over.
If there is a load that you have to bear that you can't carry,
And the highway
I
looks as if it is
right
webbed
up
by a
the
single
road,
strand of Christmas
I'll
lights,
share
blinking
you.
in perfect harmony,
If
while
you
1,000
just
car radios are tuned to an
lean
AM
on
radio
me.
talk show host spewing an opposite reality,
be your friend.
aware of my own awkwardness
help you
and accepting the fact that
carry
such absurd pop
on.
songs have captured the zeitgeist of generations, but too
I'm
caught up in the group
gonna
experience to
need
care.
somebody
I strike a
to
cigarette lighter and hold it in the air. Others
lean
follow
on
suit,
me.
and I realize that
And I'll
we,
be your
like
friend.
lightning bugs,
I'll help
like,
you carry
are stronger
on.
as a collective, as a whole,
It
as a
won't
union than we could ever
I'm gonna
be
need
as one.
somebody to
Yeah.
lean
People
on.
link arms and sway back and forth. Some go home together as darkness descends and each solitary sparkle is extinguished. But in that darkness, a new generation of fireflies is created.
Yes.
Thank you. Give it up for Karen Ball here.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring her right back.
What do you think, Eric? Pretty cool, huh?
Bringing Brenda and Lisa up because they know this song, and I normally tour around the country with a fellow named Paul Benoit, and we just put a new record out, and just this week, and I don't think I've ever been able to say this, I was just the most added record on folk radio and the college and community radio station.
Yeah.
There you go. So this is the title track from my new album with Paul Benoit called "Don't Go Back to Sleep."
Can you hear the harmony? Don't go back to sleep.
In the before times,
I like it when you're next to me. Don't go back to sleep.
we sat upon our couches.
There were angels on the radio.
We hit the TV remote,
The devil's in the dawn.
and the little white dot appeared in the middle of the screen.
The sun was singing loudly.
And from the static,
I don't know this song.
The television calmly commanded,
Don't go back to sleep.
buy a Toyota. But today, in these trying times, the television speaks in a somber voice. And it says, in these trying times, buy a Toyota.
The master knows when the sparrow falls. Don't go back to sleep.
For the times they are a-trying,
You will answer when he calls. Don't go back to sleep.
I say, celebrate these trying times.
Memories caught in the wire. The hounds let loose her mad desire.
Celebrate how we can come together.
So much to hold, no more to give away.
Blessed are the meek,
We were drowsy every
for they shall inherit the earth.
Don't go back to sleep.
However, I do not wish to inherit the earth, but I want to help to create an earth, or maybe even a festival, worth inheriting.
Light a lamp, talk to your shadow. Don't go back to sleep.
The illiterate quote the ignorant.
It's no ordinary battle.
In an effort to mask
Don't go back to sleep.
the refusal to wear a mask as rugged individualism,
Lost again in the sea's depth.
and the greater good as a flock mentality.
We're all sailing on a sinking ship.
The very same ones that long for herd immunity
Our voyage ended in a stand.
are the same ones that deride us as sheep.
Never coming back again.
So to that I say,
Don't go back to sleep.
be a shepherd. We need shepherds. We must be strong enough to stand alone, yet wise enough to stand together. We cannot fly unless we first stand. When we stand together, we realize the lifting power of many wings can travel twice the distance of any single bird flying alone. And when the bird in front tires, he flies to the back so that he may rest in the draft of the other. It is indeed your attitude that determines our altitude, and our altitude is determined by the attitude of those we fly with. Won't you fly with me? It is no coincidence that both bird and sheep travel as a flock. And today, I think of the essential workers as the essential members of our flock. Sheep and bird both flying point and folding back into the flock. And some get plenty of praise. First responders, cops, nurses, firefighters. But hell, they have good salaries. They have pensions. They have a voice that is being heard. We do honor them often and loudly. But my friends, what about the others? Let us praise them. The truck drivers, the meat packers, the pet food canners. They are our saviors.
Step lightly over sorrow. Don't go back to sleep.
Saved are the sanitation workers and online school teachers.
It might visit you tomorrow.
Precious are the postal workers.
Don't go back to sleep.
Divine, the delivery drivers, for they are glorious and there can be no glory without them.
Love, mercy, and soothing grace
Glorious are the garbage workers.
will lift you to a higher place.
The TikTok go-go girls.
Trying to be what you'll never
the grocery store stalkers.
It's like arguing with electricity.
For you are hallowed, and for you I shout.
Don't go back to sleep.
Hallelujah! Beautiful are the beverage bottlers, absolved the auto mechanics, christened the computer repair people, for you are transcendent. And transcendent are the tasks of the lowest of the low, magnified by the looking glass of 10,000 eyeballs that see at once. The strength of the whole is determined by the individual, and the strength of the individual is created by the whole. Holy, holy are the highway maintenance men. Holy are the hoi polloi. Holy are the vandals for vigilance. Holy are those that howl for humanity. Holy are the riff-raff of righteousness. Holy are the wretched rank-and-file rabble yearning to be roused. Bodacious are the bodega attendants. Luscious are the liquor store lackeys. Magnificent the marijuana dispensaries. And perfect are the protesters, the aforementioned vandals for vigilance, for the protesters, after all, are essential.
I'm okay with the mystery.
As they face the tear gas of oppression in an effort to burn down
the different ways it feels to me.
the vestiges of the before time,
Don't go back to sleep.
so that the meek shall rise.
So many voices from the sea.
So that the meek shall rise to inherit a world that we have all helped to make.
And all the unplaced melody
Worthy of inheriting.
Don't go back to sleep.
Would y'all help us out on this last line?
Don't go back to sleep.
Thank you very much, Cricket Free, Mr. Fancher. Welcome back, Karen Wall. Came to the festival last year. I was homeless, broke, hadn't worked a show in 2 years. This was the first show I worked as after the pandemic. Was the Big Folk or the Oktoberfest, and wasn't sure where I was going to go. And I just said, "What the hell? I'll stay in Austin." So now I am a recent Austinite. So, but you know, things in my life, probably yours too, have never been the same.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving.
But you know, things have never been the same. Things haven't been the same since the Big Bang. I mean, not since the first cosmic gases cooled and vast, lifeless oceans were formed. And they began to seethe with DNA and began to swim with life. But you know what happened? Some of that life didn't like it in the ocean where its parents lived, and thus hauled itself onto the land. And this caused the more conservative fish to cry out with alarm. Don't you go and do it! We swim, we don't walk. Alliances were formed to stop this sort of thing. And slogans were shaped to fit their purposes. Whatever happened to traditional values? The coalition of concerned gill breathers cried out. Well, they cited their prophet, this paranoid shellfish by the name of Nostradamus, who predicted a dark future of death camps called Red Lobster, and an evil tyrant known as Long John Silver.
And you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing.
And right now, at this very moment, somewhere on the Quiet Valley Ranch, I'll bet you a sperm cell is fusing with an ovulating egg. Now, do you think they have second thoughts? Was their intimacy achieved too quickly? Hey, look, I told you could move into my womb, but now I've gotten your DNA all mixed up with mine, and I can't tell where you start and end. But get it? This is causing me some real problems with my personal boundary issues. And soon that fetus grows into a breathing infant and is weaned from its mother's breast. And mother and child will never be the same again.
Come mothers and fathers throughout the land, and don't criticize what you don't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. The old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one if you can't lend your hand, for the times they are a-changing.
And don't even talk to me about puberty, which some of you will claim is a stage of life, but I'd like to posit to you that it really is more of an affliction. Because puberty leads us to freedom. And freedom can be just as daunting as puberty, and every bit as ugly to witness. And if any of you up here on Chapel Hill have ever been to an open mic night, you know what I'm talking about. And since I too have witnessed freedom and all its excesses, I too will never be the same again. Because freedom leads us to choices. There are so many religions out there. There are so many banks. So many kinds of checking accounts. So many ways to finance one automobile. So many options on one Ford Taurus. So many roads to take. So many gas stations along each road, and each one's got regular, unleaded, super unleaded, not to mention the variety of chips available at the cash register. So come on, which one's it gonna be? Paper or plastic?
The line it is drawn, the curse it is cast. The slow one now will later be fast, as the present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be last, for the times they are a-changing.
All right. Let's cut the crap. We know what we have chosen. We have cast our votes with our remotes and become the Republic of Infotania in the virtual states of America. Red, white, and bloodshot eyes, fixed as a blue light flickers, revealing a huge and glorious beast. And that beast is everywhere, but it exists nowhere. It has 10,000 mouths that speak at once, and it chatters on and on and on about power and sex and God, and most importantly, delicious salty snacks. It provides us not with power nor sex, nor allows us to communicate with God, but the salty snacks are available just about everywhere. There have been millions of years of evolutionary change, and we prodigal lungfish, we have risen from the ocean floors. We should now return to the water's edge, gloating. We are triumphant. We rule the world, and we bring to you Pringles.
It'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changing.
Millions of years of evolutionary change, and we are still swimming in a vast ocean of bad news, shocking tales, and graphic reenactment. What do we tell the children?
And keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again.
What do we tell our own mangled hearts?
And don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin.
What do we tell these disappointed innocents, turned devout cynics?
There's no telling who that it's naming.
You should tell them that they will never be the same again, because only the extinct do not change. So fish and fetus, suckling infant and sulking cynic, we may never be the same again. But all of this is meant to sound optimistic, for it means simply we are not stuck this way. We can change, we will change, and we will never be the same again. Thank you. Thank you. I wrote that poem with a fellow named Phil Rockstroh. I highly recommend you go out and take a look at his work.
That's a turkey vulture. Yeah, they're big. You know,
This is fun.
Turkey vultures are almost as big as a golden eagle. Not quite.
I have to say, you know, I think everybody that has been coming to Kerrville for a long time eventually says this, and I think I've said it on every set that I've ever played at Kerrville. Coming to this festival in 1990 really completely changed my life. It's an amazing thing we've got going here. We're keeping it going and passing it down to the next generation as this is happening now before our eyes. And thanks for being a part of my life. I think it was Plato that said, knowing yourself was the beginning of all wisdom. But I always thought that knowing myself just justified my persecution complex. See, my persecution complex comes about because I am a performer, and I vicariously hang around other performers. And between you and me, I am sick of all these people with their massive egos who have no interest in me. They look at me as if I have failed. I'm here to say that I have not failed. I am the grand discoverer of a new way that does not work. Someone should make me a plaque.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
I mean, to me, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and actually getting different results. I mean, take the wheel. They say that the wheel was humankind's greatest invention. I say to you, it was not the wheel. It was the axle. But even that idea was once feared. I mean, can you imagine being the first guy walking through the woods and seeing some kid, and it was definitely a kid, pushing something on a cart, looking over to his buddy and saying, back in my day, we just picked up heavy shit and carried it.
If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
Because if you think about it, all scientific facts that we know on this earth to be true were once taboo. Every single human invention was once thought to be poppycock. All human discoveries at some time were considered to be a threat to some doctrine, some dogma, somewhere. Any artistic achievement was once smeared as vice. In fact, all human progress has come about because somebody, somewhere, at some time, refused to bow to authority, but instead bowed to the higher force, the unstoppable force of ideas. My friends, we could not have come out of the trees. We could not have gone into the trees. We could not have crawled out of the primordial ooze if it were not for the rebellion and insubordination of the rebellious act.
I
Yeah.
had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out a warning, I'd sing out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
And I admit it, sometimes I'm afraid to be rebellious. I was afraid to face my fears, so I turned my back on them. And we all have to face the fact that we are not going to live forever. But I say to you, that is good, because I do not want to live forever. But I want to help you, help me, help us build a world that will last forever. This one single daydream can change a million realities. So I say, when life feels like a nightmare, and I know lately, past couple of years, life has felt like a nightmare. And when life feels like a nightmare, I say, wake up, take a nap, and dream.
Well, I got a hammer, and I got a bell, and I've got a song to sing all over this land. It's a hammer of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land.
And remember that no one created this world except for you and me. The Bible has been misinterpreted. The world was not created in 6 days because the world was not created at all, because the world is still being created. And not in 6 days, in 3. And yesterday is gone. Tomorrow we will never see, leaving us all just this one short life to walk upon this earth, stare into the clouds, and imagine the world's glorious design, because your imagination is the world's glorious design.
It's a hammer of justice, it's a bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters.
There is no God
All over this
or
land.
forever, and for that I thank God forever. Thank you very much. I'm going to do a couple more for you. Is that all right, y'all?
Oh boy. Hi. You doing all right?
Yeah, how about you?
Isn't she beautiful?
Yeah. Every time.
Do you think she's more beautiful or sings more beautifully? Or is it
Both.
even?
Both, definitely even.
And you match.
We're gonna embarrass her.
Give me a second. There's always time to tune.
It's not a short week.
Yeah.
I'm looking at an odd period of time after this festival where I ain't got nothing on the books. I don't know what I'm doing.
First weekend in December.
That's right. Yeah, I am starting. You're right. First weekend of December, I'm going to do a house concert at Brenda's house. Paul Benoit is going to come to town, and we're looking for some other shows. And if you would like to put us in your
Yeah.
living room, please let me know.
Yeah.
At the Big Folk, I played on the first Monday, and I was playing a festival in Los Angeles, and I had to fly to the gig, and I knew that I was going to land just in time to walk on stage, which is exactly what happened. So I had to wear the preacher outfit on the plane. Y'all be proud of me. I stayed in character the whole time. I shouted hallelujah when they fastened the seatbelt lights came on. People were buying me drinks just to have me save them. I think I saved a few too many people because I got a little drunk and I had to change planes. And I needed some help trying to figure out where I was supposed to go. And they said, well, Mr. Chandler, what is your final destination? I said, Well, heaven, I hope.
I wandered so aimless, life filled with sin. I wouldn't let my dear Savior in. Then Jesus came like a stranger in the night. Praise the Lord, I saw the light.
And I do. I don't want y'all to get the wrong idea about me from that last piece. I ain't no atheist. I am a God-fearing agnostic. Though I do think the world was a safer place when religion was the opiate of the masses instead of the amphetamine. Don't worry, I'm not going to get all fundamentalist on you or anything. I don't like fundamentalists of any kind, including atheists. Them fundamentalist atheists. They don't want to capitalize the word God. I'm like, why not? You capitalize Huckleberry Finn, don't you? And then they want to take one nation under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't have a problem with the phrase one nation under God. What I have a problem with is people pledging allegiance. And what does one nation under God mean anyway? I mean, does that make like Australia's more under God than we are? Is Canada one nation on top of God? Or is God all around us? We should be one nation in the center of God. I just wish we'd be one nation getting over God.
I saw the light, I saw the light. No more sorrow, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrows inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light.
And then scientists, they don't know. They're always trying to refigure some facts or figures. And they've been doing that ever since Eve dropped that apple on Sir Isaac Newton's head. But why an apple? Bible never says. What if it were a banana?
Orange?
I think a whole lot more people read the Bible if it had a snake talking to a naked chick getting her to inhale a Chiquita. I just think it's funny that it's the evil serpent that got Eve to put her clothes on.
Just like a blind man, I wandered along. Worries and fears I claimed for my own. Then like a blind man that God gave back his sight. Praise the Lord, I saw the light.
My good friend Brian Q. says, I can count all the seeds in an apple, but who amongst you can count all the apples in a seed? So what if it were a banana? We'd have no Johnny Appleseed. We'd have a Johnny Banana Seed. Only these days bananas don't have seeds. We'd have some guy traipse around the continent grafting banana stalks.
That's right.
William Tell would have shot a banana off his son's head. The Beatles would have released their records on Del Monte. Sir Isaac Newton would not have had his eureka moment when an apple hit him in the head. Instead, he'd have slipped on a banana peel. Like, bear with me, one day he's just walking along, his foot hits the banana peel, his feet go up in the air, and he comes down, kabam! Like an anvil in the Roadrunner cartoon, and he comes up with his concept of gravity. And the stars are circling around his head, and he's looking all staggered around, looking all Amy Winehouse. Is it too soon for that joke?
Yeah.
And he's staggering around, and the stars are circling around his head. He looks up at the constellations. He sees Andromeda, Aquarius, Buster Keaton. Because the stars are circling around his head, he concludes that he is the center of the universe. And you know what? He's right. Not
I
because...
saw the light, I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrows left inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light.
He's right, not because he's Sir Isaac Newton, but because the universe is infinite. And for no matter where each and every one of you sit, it's equal distance in any direction. And that, by its very definition, is the center. So let me get this right. Because Eve eats a banana instead of an apple, we don't get a Big Bang theory. We get the God slipped on a banana peel theory. If that were the case, I would believe in intelligent design. But you know, as it stands right now, intelligent design is the most self-centered concept human beings have ever come up with. Because I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to belong to a universe that would have me as its center.
I was a fool to wander and stray. Straight is the gate and narrow's the way. Now I have traded the wrong for the right. Praise the Lord, I saw the light.
Because I'm the guy who says people who think life is great simply have nothing to compare it to.
I saw the light, I saw the light.
I say to you, life is short, cruel, and unfair. But the good news is, The good news is it's equally unfair to everybody. So the next time you're sitting there feeling life is particularly unfair to you, get over it. Because quite frankly, you're just not that special.
Yeah.